Turns out discretionary spending that was already allocated is not actually putting a dent in the deficit at all, which anyone could have told Elon Musk or any number of different people if they were to, listen to reason. It was marginal cuts regardless. All they were able to do was basically lie about how much they were cutting. They didn't cut shit. They lied about everything. They found like a couple idiotic like USAID allocations that were like,
now, Elon Musk leaving the Trump administration, ending his role as a special government employee. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, has more for us. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Robin, good morning to you. And he was once considered one of the president's most powerful advisors, setting up offices on the White House campus, attending cabinet meetings. But Elon Musk is now leaving the administration and taking a swipe at the president's agenda on the way out. This morning, Elon Musk is out, stepping away from his role at the Department of Government Efficiency. Overnight posting online, "I would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending." For months, Musk has been working to slash agencies as a special government employee, attempting to cut trillions in federal spending, but facing resistance from the public, lawmakers, and members of Trump's cabinet. And in the last hours of working for the administration, Musk publicly breaking with the president on his massive spending bill, arguing it would undo their own efforts to shrink the federal government.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it. And
she smells so good right now. You guys have no idea. She is little Missy over here. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Come here. Come here. Hi. Hi. Hello. What's up with your face? You smell like apple pie. You smell so good. You smell so good. Yeah. Oh my God. Little princess. Little princess is so clean. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Yeah. 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 Good lady. So clean. Smells so good. Kaya, read my chat. She's reading your chat. Look at her like, look at her like, look at her like. That's her spot. Look, she just got de-shed and cleaned, and there's still a tremendous amount of hair coming off of her. It's crazy. And I spent this morning, spent an hour this morning using the vacuum de-shedder. Little lady. Hi. Good girl. You're a good girl. All right. Elon Musk ends role as special government employee, as we were talking about. Hell yeah.
that reminds the work that the Doge team is doing.
The president not publicly going after Musk, but arguing the bill couldn't cut too many programs.
Dog, get an Equa groomer as a de-shedding brush? Brother, not only do I have a de-shedding brush, I have a de-shedding vacuum with a de-shedding brush head attached to it. Okay? I'm on the cutting edge of de-shedding technology, and you're over here trying to educate me on how to do this, okay? Trust, I know. Dogs with undercoats are the worst shedders. Honestly, everyone always yells at me for saying this at the gym and all around. They claim that Gaia sheds like crazy year round, but no, she only sheds twice a year for 2 months out of the year. But because she sheds so much in that time frame, people actually think that she's like constantly shedding. Do you think Kaya thinks you're a crazy dude that talks to a screen all day, or does she know? I think this is all she knows, so she doesn't matter. All right. I mean, she doesn't mind it. Sorry.
The House.
Well, reactions, a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House.
The bill Republicans just pushed through the House, officially called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, does promise to slash federal spending by $1.5 trillion, with major cuts to Medicaid and food assistance programs. But the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office now estimates it will add $3.8 trillion to the national deficit over the next 10 years. The bill has divided Republican lawmakers, and even the president says it's not perfect.
I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it.
But Republicans back in their own home districts are now forced to defend the bill and other actions taken by the administration.
I am going to do the very best job I can on your behalf.
At a town hall in Nebraska.
No, you don't. No, you don't, Michael. We watched this yesterday because we're obviously following. We are obviously following. The media is obviously following my notes. But this was a wonderful, fantastic town hall. Shouts out to my Nebraska Maoists. Okay. Possibly the dumbest name for a law in the history of politics. Excuse me. How dare you? It's beautiful. Well, typical Democrat. Typical dummycrat hates beautiful things. You wanna do a bill that's the stupid, small, ugly bill. Got him. Yep, that's right, dude. It's based. It's based. Big beautiful bill. Based. Yeah, anti-American, hateful dumbocrats. Oh, got him. Didn't the GOP say to stop doing town halls? Yeah, this guy didn't get the memo, apparently. Big mistake for him. I legit believe they got an intern watching you and taking notes on shit, especially since Dems want to put money into growing an online presence. Yeah, they're taking notes and going, okay, he talks quite a bit about how Israel sucks and how much he hates Israel and how angry and resentful he is towards the Democrats for constantly propping up Israel as the most moral democracy. I guess we have to spend our $20 million elsewhere. Yeah, they take notes to do the exact opposite of what I've been doing. What would you say as civilians we could do to stop this big, beautiful bill from passing? What's the most impactful way to make a change? Protest, call your representatives, continue going to town halls, continue making a big fuss. I don't think it's going to pass in the current ways it has been presented in the Senate regardless. But Democrats are... I am not seeing a lot of motion from the Dems right now. I have not seen any major Democrats on television talking about this idiotic bill. It's like shocking. Very little anger and resentment over this otherwise completely insane bill. I don't know what's happening. Cory Booker, I guess, is too busy writing a book about his filibuster. So Schumer said he isn't voting for it, so it probably already has the votes. No, it does not. No. Don't be crazy. It does not. Part of the reason why it doesn't is because Republicans in the Senate, being insane, think that the bill doesn't the poor harder. Like there are Republicans in the Senate that are like, I'm not seeing enough death and destruction to the working poor. We need to cut more. Okay, think about how insane that is. There's also the Trump side of this equation, which is why Trump will say there's good parts of the bill, there's bad parts of the bill. The reason why Trump is saying that and not going, I love this bill, it's the greatest bill of all time, we should do the bill in the way that it is presented, even though he goes back and forth on that too. Don't say bless you. We are not blessing anymore. Science you, okay? Logic and reasoning you, okay? Empirical evidence you. I don't want to hear bless you. This is an anti-Christian space. You know this already. Yes. Peer-reviewed research you. I'm not welcome here. Yes. Christian Saint Dior. No. No more Christianity. We got no more Islam, no more Judaism, no more Christianity. We're doing science. We're doing logic. We're doing reasoning. We're doing empirical evidence. Okay? Zoroastrianism is fine. That's the only one that I'm allowing. This is an anti-religious space. I'm a r/atheist, okay? I'm a Reddit atheist now. The only one that's allowed is Zoroastrianism. Nothing else. Only because it's badass and pretty crazy. Like the Towers of the Dead is a wild concept that I learned in Theology 101, and that's it. No Scientology either.
Republican Congressman Mike Flood admitting he wasn't aware of everything that was in the bill when he voted for it.
that's like that's so gross. That's so gross. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize there was a poor child annihilator provision in the bill. My bad. Is insane. It's like, you got one fucking job, asshole. The fuck do you mean you didn't know there were these things in the bill? Like, what is that? Oops, all austerity. Didn't read it though. No, he did read it for the right. I mean, he knows the broad strokes of it. Okay. That's why he came into the town hall being like, we got to cut our spending. We got to cut our spending. We got to be fiscally responsible. We got to be fiscally responsible. And then people that actually read specific provisions of the bill that were like, hey, why do you want people who are poor? Why do you want children who are born into poorer families to die or to not have access to food? Because that's what you're cutting. He was like, I don't know. It's just we're fiscally responsible. Fiscal responsibility.
This provision was unknown to me when I voted for the bill.
And in Iowa, Republican Congresswoman Ashley Henson booed at a town hall as she touted the bill.
I was also proud to vote for President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill last week. This is a generational investment.
So as for Elon Musk, his role in the government was intended to be limited, but in recent days, he has said he spent too much time focused on politics as his businesses took a hit, George.
Okay, Rachel, thanks very much.
It's now official. Elon Musk is leaving his role as a special government employee in the Trump administration, with a White House official confirming to me tonight that he is going to start the offboarding process this evening, which essentially includes paperwork. It's not totally clear what else. But we did see Musk post this on his own website saying, as my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I'd like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time.
The black Avi is perfect. The black PFP is like you know he's going through it, okay? God, Doge was such a spectacular fuck up. For every, like, I cannot think of an even dumber thing. I cannot think of the Doge might be even stupider than the fucking tariffs. Okay. And the tariffs are really fucking stupid. But like the Doge stuff was so idiotic in its execution. He went in, he cut federal programs. Turns out discretionary spending that was already allocated is not actually fucking putting a dent in the deficit at all. Which anyone could have told Elon Musk or any number of different people if they were to, listen to reason. It was marginal cuts regardless. All they were able to do was basically lie about how much they were cutting. They didn't cut shit. They lied about everything. They found like a couple idiotic like US aid allocations that were like $8,000 to make people in Zimbabwe fucking eat vegan or whatever, which is nothing. It's not. It's like, I assume, CIA agents basically trying to hide money for their own personal benefit in these like stupid programs. Okay. All the while they cut the National Weather Service. Okay. They cut the National Weather Service for no reason. They cut the Department of Energy, which handles the nuclear program, which handles the nukes, and then had to go back and be like, oh my God, we're so sorry. Can you please come back to work? Like vital services. They cut a bunch of vital fucking services. Everyone got mad. Everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Time as it becomes a way of life throughout government. This is all coming as Musk has recently tried to distance himself from the administration to a degree, including when he criticized the president's big, beautiful bill, something the president was asked about today and essentially shrugged off.
Well, reactions, a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill. But the beautiful is because of all of the things we have.
Here's what Elon Musk had to say about that bill, which the Congressional Budget Office has estimated would add more than $3 trillion to the federal deficit.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
My source on all of this tonight is the veteran tech journalist, Kara Swisher. And Kara, it's great to have you here. What do you make of Elon Musk officially leaving his role that he is tonight?
Well, it's a long goodbye, isn't it? I mean, he seems to be leaving and going out. He needs to work on his company. This was inevitable that he was not going to stay there very long. And it pushed along by the fact that his businesses are a bit in distress. And so he needs to pay attention and do his actual job.
Do you think he's actually leaving?
I think he's probably frustrated by the pace of government. And when he goes back to his companies, he says jump and they say how high. At the government, they don't do that. And I think he found a lot more difficulty in finding real cuts and everything else. And I think they're only sending $9 billion in Doge.
Yeah, all of the Elon Glazers now turning on him, fake friends, you know? Like, didn't Kara Swisher basically fucking ride Elon into oblivion? Like, this was her job. So many people in mainstream media have made careers out of talking about how awesome Elon is, how he's like basically Tony Stark.
Cuts to, which is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket, which means pretty much his effort was a failure.
Yeah, that's what they're planning to send up to the Hill based on what we know so far. But I mean, $9 billion might sound like a ton of money to someone who's watching, but when you think about his stated goal of $1 trillion to cut coming in,
$2 trillion at first,
$2 trillion initially, then that was halved to be more realistic.
Yeah,
I think that puts it more in perspective of how much there was this high bar that they did not reach.
No, it's what they spent on paper clips. I mean, it's really not a lot, and he didn't find it. He was able to do it because he made cuts in particular areas, some of which were regulating him, like foreign budgets, maybe attack NPR, attack things like that. But it wasn't significant cutting that they were talking about, which is reforming government extensively. And as he correctly pointed out, you can't have a bill that's big and beautiful. You can have one or the other. And Musk can do math, I think, and he understands the deficit. This $2.3 billion or more raising the deficit is very dangerous for this country, which was something I think he genuinely wanted to help fix.
Did the president's response when he was asked about Elon Musk saying, it can be big or it can be beautiful, it can't be both, which he said with a laugh there, but I do think is a point that he actually probably believes. Were you surprised that Trump didn't have a stronger response to that?
No, because he was just saying, yeah, that's the way it goes here up in there. Like, I think he was acknowledging that this is how it happens, this is how the sausage is made. And I think Elon thought, because the way he runs his own companies, that he could just come in and trample everybody. And I think that was one of the problems. I think he bullied cabinet members. I think he ran over things. He took a lion's share of the attention, the whole chainsaw thing, which is...
Like, Elon Musk's existence as the richest billionaire on the planet, the wealthiest billionaire on the planet, is fantastic in many ways. One, because it just directly cuts away at the lie of meritocracy, because he doesn't work hard nor smart. And I think a lot of Americans can recognize that. Anyway, getting back to Elon, as I was saying, he is a perfect representation of the lie that is meritocracy in our process, in our system, in our distribution of wealth, in the economic organization of society. That's number one. Number two, Elon Musk and the ways in which he has been able to get his grimy little hands all over the federal regulatory agencies that are tasked with regulating his companies, okay, is, I think, a perfect opportunity to once again remind people how these things work in places like China. Think for a moment. A guy like Elon Musk behaving this way, leading to all of these federal agency workers getting fired from their jobs. Imagine what would happen in China. Imagine what would happen to an Elon Musk figure in China. That's all I'm saying. There would be some serious criminal prosecutions that would come after these kinds of actions. And I think that is something we should be moving towards. It would be fantastic.
Which is, thank God, a distant memory. And I think he did a lot more showmanship than he did actual work.
I thought what he said to the Washington Post in an interview was interesting. He said Doge has just become the whipping boy for everything. Something would go bad, something bad would happen anywhere, and we would get blamed for it even though we had nothing to do with it?
Oh, woe is me. So that's what, when you're on the big leagues, that's what happens. You have to take blame. And he attracted attention to himself, so he has no one to blame but himself in that regard. I mean, he wanted the attention, he wanted the power, he showed up in cabinet meetings, and then he was mad that people didn't agree with him, and then started to complain about him, either on the record or off the record. So he's whiny like that in lots of ways. Everyone's out to get him, whether it's Sam Altman or people who don't like Teslas or Elizabeth Warren. It doesn't matter. He's always got some victimization thing going on.
Did it stand out to you that he wasn't wearing the typical hat that he's been donning in a lot of the cabinet meetings, the MAGA hat or anything about Trump? No. And instead he's wearing the shirt.
Occupy Mars. He wears that a lot. That's actually something he wears a lot. No, I think he'll still be around. I think they'll still want him for the money. There's very few people who can write a check that big for particular things. There's a lot of rich people, possibly a lot of easier to deal with rich people, I guess. But there's no one who who really would bet that much, make that much of a bet like Elon does. And that is one attribute he has. His ability to take risks is higher than most people.
Yeah, and it's not like he's totally gone from Trump's orbit. I mean, he was just in the Oval Office when the South African leader was there, and
sure
obviously had a huge influence on how that went down.
Clearly, absolutely. I think he'll be able to call Trump up, but I suspect they found him a bit of a...
Can't remember who, but someone said right after Elon started Doge, he just unknowingly bumbled into the role of the king's dumb advisor, the king executes when the peasants start getting mad, and I think that's been entirely vindicated. Yeah. No, I presented it as that as well. I said, like, Elon Musk is going to be the foil. He is going to be the inevitable fall guy because Trump hates losers. And the moment that he falls out of favor, which he did, Donald Trump cut him out. He also does not have like the charisma to be able to navigate this space anyway. It would already be very difficult for anyone to be able to operate as the responsible figure for all of these insane cuts. But Elon is also repulsive. Like he's gross. I don't know how else to explain it. He just has no aura. He's awful.
The nuisance. That's what I understand from people there.
You mentioned his other companies, and today we saw a group of Tesla investors send a letter to him urging him to commit to at least 40 hours a week running the company, saying his outside endeavors appear to have diverted his time and attention from actively managing Tesla's operation, as any other chief executive officer or publicly traded company would be expected to do.
Correct. I know. That's the thing is, can we please have 40 hours of your week, which is kind of ridiculous. And Tesla's really got some real challenges going forward, including finding a car that people want to buy. And the original car is amazing, but you don't rely on a single car. You have to continue to innovate. And he's dropped the ball there, and others have taken it up. And now he's in a real jam, actually.
Yeah, he seemed to acknowledge that himself, that he spent maybe too much time on politics recently, saying, he did blame the media a bit, said the media is going to overrepresent any political stuff. He said, it's not like I left the companies. It was just relative time allocation that probably was a little too high on the government side.
Oh my God, he was tweeting every 5 minutes all about politics. Come on, he always blames other people. Look at his Twitter storm that he used to have all the time. Now he's tweeting about his businesses mostly, but he spent all his time in a look at me situation. Here I am in the front row of the inauguration. Here I am jumping up and down on a stage.
Here I am doing the Nazi salute. Kara, say it. I feel like we kind of just brush past that far too quickly. I don't know why the media is not even entertaining that. That was a very consequential moment for a lot of Americans. I would go so far as to say that played a big role in resentment from a lot of Americans, and then that resentment carried over and snowballed into the additional resentment that they had with all the cuts that came afterwards, because they're all Nazi and don't give a fuck. Dude, I know that there are Chatter's parents in here who even then, like when he did that, they thought this is fucked up. There's no way. I feel like that was a pivotal moment. That was a pivotal moment for a lot of people. I think you're discounting for the average people, like for the average boomers. I think you're discounting how much that image actually played a role in them going, nope, I'm out.
In the cabinet meeting, he has no one to blame but himself on the problems at Tesla, and the fact that competition exists, and that's what's happened here.
Well, and on the I think some people may hear this and say, well, he was trying to do good, he was trying to find fraud in the federal government, but I was
It's really dangerous to conflate that action with anti-Semitism. Yeah, Sig Heiling with anti-Semitism. Everybody knows anti-Semitism is when you say Israel does not represent all Jews and it's doing a genocide of primarily children. That's anti-Semitism, not when you Sig Heil.
Listening to Steve Bannon last week, and he was essentially saying, you know, Republicans are trying to cut whatever they can from Medicaid for this bill. They're getting blamed by Democrats. He's like, where is Doge? They were supposed to
That's right.
go after that or go after the Pentagon budget. Instead, they went after smaller projects that didn't net, you know, the huge fraud people were expecting.
I think he's right. It was a lot of jazz hands, and exhausting jazz hands. And he sucked up all the attention. And so if he was going to act like a heat shield, don't be surprised that you get burned. That's my feeling. And, you know, one of the things, he's still going to be a successful business person. One of his companies, Neuralink, just got a big funding. People, you know, I wouldn't bet him out in the car business, although he has a much tougher road there. Obviously, Starlink has challenges, but it's doing really well. The space stuff is really interesting. I mean, if he devotes himself to that, he would be great. But this is going to be probably years from now seen as an alleyway he went down that just didn't work out quite as well for him.
Does it surprise you at all that this did not end in a massive blow up between Elon Musk and Trump that some people predicted might happen?
I don't know, TK, right? He starts by little criticisms. And I think I do tend to agree with him on the tariffs and free trade. Again, he can do math. Deficits are a real problem for this country. And here we have this big, beautiful bill that's going to raise them rather substantially, which is mortgaging.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's the big problem with the big, beautiful bill, is that it actually raises the deficits, and not because there's a ginormous wealth reallocation to the top while causing the working poor to suffer even more. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Ay, ay, ay. The motherfucking Democrats and the liberals in media. What are we doing, dude? What are we doing? This is literally a gift. This is a unique opportunity for every liberal to go on television and be like, they want to kill the working poor, but they don't want to say that. And the reason why they don't want to say that is because liberals also want to kill the working poor.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all.
The people voted for major government reform.
Elon Musk has left the White House. Having taken his chainsaw to the US Capitol, what did he actually achieve?
Just something we've got to fix.
Did he deliver the war on waste Americans were promised? And what, if anything, was in it for him?
Why don't you care about the deficit? Seems like a pretty big problem that we'll have to face eventually. Because as long as America is the global currency, the global reserve currency, as long as America has 800 military bases, as long as America is the hegemonic superpower, it literally doesn't matter, okay? And I'll tell you how it doesn't matter. Because both Republicans and Democrats don't give a fuck about the deficit when it comes to additional military spending. They only care about the deficit when it comes to the expanding of social safety nets. That's it. They don't care about the deficit when it comes to tax cuts for the wealthy. They don't care about the deficit when it comes to deregulation, or not even deregulation, but tax cuts for the wealthy, or expanding the military budget. Endlessly expansive military budgets. Okay? All of those things also are expenditures. All of those things contribute to the deficit in very meaningful ways. Okay? It's bullshit. Here, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the greatest example. Okay, aside from the fact that America is the country that keeps this global capitalist economy running. Okay, the government is also, even if you were to look at it like a business, but it's not. Okay. Even if the government was run like a business, you got to spend money to make money, okay? Every business in this goddamn country runs on debt. So it's not a wonder that the United States also runs on debt, okay? But it's not. The American government is not is not the same as like your budget for your family, and the American government certainly is not the same as your as your average business either. I take the reverse position, Okay, I take the reverse position that a lot of these guys have, which is they have no issues running up the deficit when it comes to tax cuts for the wealthy. Fuck that. We should actually take more money out of circulation from the wealthy in particular. That's number one. And number two, instead of the endlessly expanding military budget, we should keep pumping more money into an endlessly expansive welfare state. That's it. Because no one, when push comes to shove, no one believes in the deficit. Republicans claim to be deficit hawks when Democrats are in charge, because Democrats want to at least marginally sometimes expand the existing social safety nets. And then they're like, whoa. This is going to fucking expand the deficit. We can't do that. It's going to increase the deficit. I get that, but I feel like acting like it doesn't matter doesn't solve the problem. Yes, it does, because it's not a problem. It's not a real problem, okay? And it's so not a real problem that nobody fucking actually cares about it. That's my point. It's so not a real problem. It is so not a real problem that both Democrats and Republicans forget about the deficit when it comes to, once again, endlessly expansive military budgets and also tax cuts for the wealthy. It is only used as a way to cut away at expanding social safety nets. That's it. That's the only time this ever gets brought up. There has never been a conversation about the deficit when it comes to military spending. Why? Is it because you might say, oh, well, that's just discretionary spending. Discretionary spending is expensive on the military side, but like the overwhelming majority of all of our expenditure goes to Medicare, Medicaid, and goes to Social Security. Sure, fine, but that's necessary. The military is not. Of course, once again, America's position on the global stage. Okay, thick cookie, shut the fuck up. Okay, take a day off. God, you're annoying me. America's position as the hegemonic superpower relies on endless imperialism. Okay, relies on 800 military bases. America also has a voluntary military. We do not have a draft in this country. How do you maintain a voluntary military? How do you maintain a voluntary military that is going to go to 800 different military bases that we know of all around the planet and continue being the global police? You do that through creating poverty, artificial poverty. Everyone wants upward social mobility. Everyone understands that the only way to reach upward social mobility is through getting a college education, okay? And the only way to get college education, or the only way to even get health care, is by joining the fucking military. That's it. That is how you keep a massive military, and that is how you that is the only way that you can maintain a massive voluntary army, rather than offer these social safety nets unconditionally to every single citizen. Because if you were to do that, who the fuck would join the military? Who? No one. No one would do that.
Musk's Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, made big promises. Conservatives like Mike Gonzalez were delighted.
In the case of Elon Musk, this guy is what we used to call a wunderkind, a very high IQ individual who has succeeded, like really succeeded.
Nope. That's just marketing that you guys fell for.
In many different areas. So I think that to use his very high intelligence and his willingness to help his country, his patriotism in a sense, to channel that into this one area that we really need help with, I think is brilliant.
Doge. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps.
This noise that Mr. Trump is generating, there's something happening under that noise.
Take defense spending. No one doubts that in the corridors of the Pentagon there were huge savings to be found. A man like Rob Storch was a natural Elon Musk ally. As Inspector General, it was his job to identify waste, and he found billions of dollars of it.
We identified approximately $10.8 billion in monetary savings for the Department of Defense. I believe the total amount saved by Inspectors General exceeds $100 billion every year.
Over at the Department of Interior, his counterpart, Inspector General Mark Greenblatt, was making big savings too.
Well, when the presidents first started talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, which we call Doge here, when he first started talking about it, Elon Musk was being bandied about and there was all this sort of hubbub. I was actually excited. I was the chair of the Council of Inspectors General at the time. And I said, well, these are going to be good allies for us in the fight against waste, fraud, and abuse. This is a good thing for us and for America. But their mission has turned out to be very, very different.
Different because, despite saving the taxpayer huge amounts of money, President Trump fired Rob Storch, Mark Greenblatt, and at least 15 of their waste-watching counterparts.
How could we have known that the Department of Government Efficiency would be inefficient? Well, I don't know. Maybe because there already is a pre-existing government office dedicated to... There is already a pre-existing government watchdog that is dedicated to, cutting inefficient spending. And that also, might come as a surprise to many of you, requires a shit ton of people, accountants, specialists, to work at said government watchdog, to really look at the numbers, crunch them, and understand what they're looking at, to find new ways of cutting expenditure. You can't just go in there with a fucking hatchet with like 8 losers hopped up on Adderall and with AI to get in there and be like, yeah, we're just going to cut everything. You can't do that. That's not how this works. Hundreds of millions of people rely on the government working efficiently. Hundreds of millions of people rely on the government working at all. You can't just like go in there and be like, nah, we're cutting everything. There are people on Social Security payments that are 130 years old. Yeah, you're a fucking moron. Good job.
At other agencies.
Obviously, after 37 and a half years in the federal government, that's not the way I wanted my career to end. I think what happened is a big loss.
It seems like for Doge, it's not improving government efficiency. It's just cutting government, which is a different goal.
So how successful has Mr. Musk been in his cost-cutting goal? Just listen to how his promises have changed over time.
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah! That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. Thank you.
$150 billion.
What happened? What happened, dude? I thought you had it. I thought you had that dog in you, man. That's crazy. I really thought we were cutting trillions of dollars in spending, dude. I'm so surprised.
Think of that.
Yeah. 160 now.
Yeah, 160.
And at what potential cost has this come to Washington's system?
Also, I can't stand how much we reward loser shit when it's like a rich person doing it. Like, if your broke ass was this incompetent at whatever broke ass job that you have, you get fired. Like, can you imagine? Like, what's the equivalent of like you're supposed to do at McDonald's, you're supposed to, I don't know, whip up 50 fries a day. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do 50 small orders of fries not a day, fucking, I don't know, 50 orders of, let's say, one fry order per minute, 60 an hour, okay? Or 50 an hour. Let's do 50 an hour, okay? Not a day. 50 orders of fries an hour. And you come into that job and you're supposed to be doing 50 orders of fries an hour, and instead you end up whipping up 3 orders of fries an hour. You get fired. You would get fired so fast your head would spin. They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? There is a pileup of cars a mile long. Button up your privileges showing, my guy. What? It would be like whipping up 3 orders of nuggets instead of fries. I'm just saying, like, They let you do so much when you're rich. When you're already rich, they're like, yeah, he's just a little guy. He's just a little crazy. He doesn't know what he's saying. It's fine. Wait, what? Isaiah Thomas?
Of checks and balances. Here's the former head of the US Office of Government Ethics.
The gutting of agencies and personnel with decades of experience and expertise, it really takes us back almost to the 19th century. The legal system that we have in place to govern against conflicts was one of the many ethical reforms that took place in the wake of the Watergate scandal in the 1970s. It takes effort on the part of the government officials involved, and it takes a certain amount of goodwill and norms of behavior, which the Trump administration, in both its first iteration and in the first 90 plus days of this administration, tends to ignore.
With such privileged access and power, could Musk really disentangle his business interests? His supporters say he's a patriot, not a profiteer. Take Tesla. Despite money can't buy advertising from his boss, the carmaker's performance has hardly been stellar.
If he were honoring both the letter and the spirit of the law, then he would recuse himself from any official activities that in any way could benefit his professional interests, whether it's Starlink, whether it's Tesla, or whether it's SpaceX. So while he's serving, that's a tremendous concern.
Starlink is Elon Musk's satellite internet business, connecting hard-to-reach places around the world. And some in Washington say it's a prime example of where his business interests conflicted with his government role. Why, for example, did the Trump administration make cuts to a multi-billion-dollar project to provide broadband to some of America's most rural communities, including big Trump-supporting areas? The man who ran it is deeply skeptical about their reasoning.
After the confirmation of Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, we received instruction that we were to rewrite the program rules, which rewrite is still occurring, to increase the amount of satellite usage and decrease the amount of fiber optic connectivity. The practical outcome of the changes that the new administration has pushed forward will be that more people will get worse connections and more money will be pushed toward Elon Musk's Starlink program. This certainly appears improper.
America.
What are you going to do? He's, the wealthy are too powerful. Inside access, baby. What are you going to do? It's all, dude, they are getting way more open and way more brazen with their rampant corruption, where it's just like, it's all might is right politics all the way down.
It did vote for change in Washington. But with Doge's figurehead now leaving the building, its achievements unclear, and with no let-up in opposition from the courts, Democrats and sacked federal workers, has the president got the stomach to finish Elon Musk's job?